Now remember when Bajaj completely changed the game when they released the Dominar 400, the pinnacle of accessible performance. You could get at the time a 373.15cc bike for 1.8 lakhs on road. But then predictably the prices increased and then people found the need of an affordable Dominar. Well, now you have one. Now, after the massive success of the Dominar 400 in the Indian market, it didn't take Bajaj a very long time to realize that a lesser displacement version of this bike, which was more cost effective, would be very appealing in our market. Hence, they made this bike, and believe me, you're going to see a lot of these on the road, because for 1.93 lakhs on the road Pune, that's a very, very tempting price for such a huge amount of motorcycle. This is basically a Dominar 400 with a different engine. To be exact, it has the 249cc from KTM's Duke 250. Now this is in such a different state of tune, it's so relaxed that once you start riding initially, you don't quite believe it's the same frantic engine that powers that orange animal. But when you twist the throttle to its maximum, you believe instantly, because there are heaps of power available. Now even if it is a little bit detuned in terms of power and torque, it has 27 bhp and 23.5 Newton meters of torque. It's still more than enough to go really quickly. Even though this shares the engine of the Duke, the acceleration is not frantic at all. It's very linear and progressive and very smooth and refined as well. It's like the engine doesn't encourage you to ride fast. It encourages you to ride smoothly and stably rather than, go around bends with your knee down. It says, take a chill pill, go relaxed. Now I know what the concern of most of you is. This bike shares most of its components with its 400cc brother, but the engine is 250 as opposed to 400 on the bigger one. But it only weighs 4 kilograms less, so you must be thinking, if the weight is broadly the same, then how is that engine going to be able to handle almost the same amount of weight? Well, don't worry, because it's a very relaxed riding experience and the engine can handle the weight very well, especially for touring when it gives you a lot of stability. You can definitely take it up to high speeds and stay there all day without any trouble at all. Now the adjustable gas charged monoshock at the back and the USDs at the front do a pretty good job of isolating you from bumps and irregularities. However, I liked the setup of the Jigsaw SF 250 which we reviewed. More than this, I thought it was better at isolating the rider from bumps. If you haven't seen that review, we're putting the link down in the description, so do check it out as well. Another difference between the Dominar 400 and the 250 are the tire sizes. Now the 400 comes with a 110 section at the front and a 150 section at the back, whereas the 250 comes with a 100 section up front and a 130 at the back. While the front tire isn't such an issue, a 130 section tire looks way too small on the Dominar 250 since the frame and the size of both bikes is the same. Now the weight is almost the same too. There's only a 7 to 8 kg gap between the 250 and the 400, so we would have liked at least a 140 section tire on the 250 because the rear look of the bike is quite spoiled by such a thin tire that is the 130 section. The brakes of the 250, to be noted, are also smaller than those on the 400. The highlight for me obviously was this spectacular riding position. On my way here, I was just so relaxed and I just imagined that I could be on this bike for ages. I could do touring without stopping, without my back aching. Like on a KTM, definitely I would have to stop and stretch every few miles, but on this bike I could just stay there at low to mid RPM, relaxed. I could take it to high RPM every now and then, do a few sprints, and it would just be so comfortable that I wouldn't mind spending a vast amount of time on this bike. So I think Bajaj has achieved that successfully since they designed this to be a tourer, and it works fantastically at that. The Domi 250 is equipped with disc brakes at the front and the back, and it has a tremendous dual channel ABS setup. The exhaust note is amazing. It's really throaty and has a really nice character to it. Also, it's a double barrel exhaust which amplifies the sound even further. since the 250 looks exactly like the 400, I mean there are not many visually distinguishing cues between the two, but it is a beautiful looking bike, especially in this terrific shade of red. The edges, the cuts and the overall touring stance makes it look like a big bike, and you'll feel that once you start riding it as well. LED headlight, LED taillight, LED indicators also amplify the presence. So all in all, it looks spectacular, I think, and it looks even more spectacular when you're riding it because it comes across definitively as a touring machine. A massive thank you to Krishna Rama Bajaj for providing us with this bike. It's a truly beautiful machine. Go and check out their showroom. They have a really wide variety of Bajaj bikes and a really friendly and helpful staff as well. So definitely check out their showroom. To conclude, the question we always ask at the end of reviews: should you buy it? Now, if it were up to me, yes, I would totally buy this bike because it's for 1.93 lakhs on road. You get a 250cc engine from the Duke 250, which costs around half a lakh more. It's an amazing touring machine. That exhaust note is to die for. The posture is incredible. It's got the features you would need. A fuel economy of 35 kmpl, which isn't bad at all for this bike. So if you have a 2 lakh budget, this should be right at the top of your consideration list. Ride safe.